What are we doing school this week? Well, put shorts on, and now we're shoveling snow again. Welcome to Ohio. Hey everybody, welcome back to RATTLECAN FAB Shop. I am James, and what did we do this week in school? Well, in our off time this week, we helped friend of the channel Jay go down and bring his 72 240Z back home. It has been getting a bunch of work done at the Cincinnati Z-Car guy. And if you're into cars and car restoration stuff like that, check his channel, his Facebook page out, and then we've had a little bit of hands-on helping Jay with this, and it's not over yet. So the nice thing is it's a lot of stuff that we're learning in school is directly applicable to this project. So that was on the weekend. Anyways, Monday, welding, metal forming, and fabrication class saw the welding safety lecture, which is my third. I pretty much got it down. I tried to sum it up for one of the guys in my class. Realize that everything in your weld bay is hot. If you can do that, you're ahead of the game. This is the only place that I have taken any welding courses at where they supplied you your baseline PPE. We got a carry bag and a auto darkening helmet and a jacket and gloves. So yeah, that was Monday. That's pretty much the gist of it. Tuesday in machine shop class, we actually got to machine things, and we are, as you can see by the plan here, we are turning a turning widget, a turning thing, and working on off of this plan and off of this 1-inch slug. And I turned my first chips, my first teeny tiny facing chips, which was a mixture of terrifying and exciting. Just because you're finally doing something that you've been wanting to do for some time. So now something else that we learned is numbers matter, and we have to go through these calculations for feeds and speeds. How many RPMs your workpiece is going to turn, how deep of a cut you're going to take, and then how fast you're going to traverse the piece that you are turning. And if one of those numbers is not right, then you get this. It's a sculpture I call feeds and speeds incorrect. And this is what happens when you discover that the RPM control knob, because this lathe actually you have your normal high-low change gears to dictate your RPM, but it also has a rheostat where you can fine-tune it, which is great, except it is super touchy. And if you are leaning across the machine, perhaps to take a measurement, and you bump that with your elbow, suddenly your 360 RPMs turn into 1100 RPMs. And then you smoke the corner of your high-speed steel tool, you make a continuous ugly chip like this, and then you get to spend some time at the grinder reworking your tool. So that was an eye-opening event. So that was Tuesday. We also have clarified when open lab times are, and so now I have the opportunity, at least for the machine shop class, that I can go in Monday evenings and I can go in on Friday mornings, and I can utilize, I can go to my machine and I can work on my projects. So I stopped off at metal supermarkets. I picked up a bunch of blanks because I learned by doing, and doing something once, it's just not going to work for me. I'm going to have to do it over and over and over again. And with these open lab periods, this is a really good time for me to get in and get comfortable with my machine and the processes. What else went on? We got our Prime Weld banner for the shop. If you don't know, I have a Prime Weld AC/DC 225X TIG welder that I'm quite happy with. It'll do stick as well. And so we decorated the shop up a little bit. Anyways, Wednesday evening, CNC ops class. We went from writing programs on the board to typing them up in Notepad and then importing that into the Haas control unit. This is the same machine control unit that you see on the machine. They're just a standalone unit, and we've got, I don't know, 12 of them or something in the room. And so you sit down at a desk and you type up your stuff, put it on a thumb drive, stick it in the simulator, and that's when you find out that that this machine will do what you tell it to do. And if you tell it to do something stupid, like send your spindle to the next county, it'll try to do that in the most efficient way possible. So we're debugging stuff, and you'll run this program, and then the lines don't match up. So then we have to go back and we have to figure out, instead of 0.1875, I put 1.875. Little tiny typos like that. And then I came home after class, and then I went through it again, and I found where I had put GO instead of G0, and it looks like that basically negates whatever is on that line. So if that's the case, then there's a pretty good chance that if I had run this part, I would have snapped an end mill off, which is why we're doing it on the simulator. Thursday morning, metrology class. We got to play with a whole bunch of stuff today. We were doing depth measurements and height measurements. So we were utilizing depth micrometers. These are the variety that have the extensions with a little snap ring on them. And these are like brand new pieces. So you're trying to, in fact, a couple of mine, I had to pinch the little snap ring in on the rod in order to get it to seat itself in. They're super new. They're okay. We don't have a classroom full of stuff or Mitutoyo stuff. This is mostly, it looks like it's mostly SPI. But for goobers like us, it works fine. So and then we're doing the dreaded notch blocks again. I'm so tired of looking at these notch blocks, but I understand the purpose. So now we're measuring depth with a depth micrometer. We're measuring depth with a dial caliper, and then we're you're figuring out the difference between the readings between the two, because it should be the same, but oftentimes it's not. We got introduced to 1, 2, 3 blocks. Most of us know what those are. We did get to see something I hadn't seen before called a sine bar set, and what we were using were these little calibrated slugs called risers with a Z. I don't get that. But anyway, so we were using depth micrometers to measure how tall those were, and then you're using regular inch micrometers, and then you're trying to figure out what the differences are between there and just all these different exercises designed to get you used to using, the depth micrometer, the regular micrometer, a dial caliper. We used height gauges, the old school dial indicator height gauges, not the fancy, mechano digital ones or the electro digital ones. We're using, the old school ones. I almost think that's a way to weed the weaklings out of the group, because it can be quite frustrating, because there are it's just trying to learn a different language, and it's just trying to figure out how to get the best reading. And sometimes it's easy to just directly read what that number is, and then sometimes you're having to look at the number, and then you're trying to figure out, okay, well, which side of the line is this on? Because depending on what side of a line you're on, it could mean a big difference in your answer. So trying to figure that out. We're getting better at it, but there's only so much time in the day. You do a 2.5 hour lecture, and then you do an hour and a half or a 2-hour lab, and then you're gone, and then you don't get to use it for a week, because most of us don't have these tools sitting around. I have a few of them, and I pick them up as I come across them, partly so I can practice, and partly so we can have them in the shop to use to make the things that we do better. But that's the week in school. The temperature can't make up its mind. I got iris bulbs coming up, because it'll be 60 degrees for 2 or 3 days, and then we'll have 2 or 3 days where it's 12, and then it'll rain / freezing rain / wintry mix / snow, and it'll do that for 2 or 3 days, and it'll be 60 degrees again. I just pick something. I can survive in just about anything, but just pick something. Anyways, that's what I learned this week in school. Remember, if you find this entertaining or helpful, or maybe a combination of the two, give us a thumbs up. If you have questions or comments, put them in the comment section down beneath the sermon notes. I try to check this stuff as I can. YouTube is clunky for notifying you when you get messages and stuff. Subscribe if you're not subscribed. Hit the little bell, because whenever I post one of these, you'll get a notification, and then you can go, oh, the dumb guy is on TV. Let's listen to see how stupid he is. Which, if nothing else, that's entertaining in and of itself. Anyways, I'm James. It's RATTLECAN Fab Shop. What I learned this week at school. You guys have a great weekend. If I can do it, you can do it. Cheers. Thanks for taking the time out of your day to spend it here with me. Hope you enjoyed this video. Here's one that you might enjoy as well. If you're not already subscribed, be sure to hit that button. Hit the bell next to it so that you get a notification when we drop a new video. If you've got comments, put them down beneath the sermon notes. And remember, if I can do it, you can do it. You guys have a great weekend. Cheers.